Welcome back to Call of Plastic. As you can see, we've got a change of pace for this mission. It's the Bob Ross action figure from NECA Toys. This set features 2 brushes, a paint palette, palette knife, and easel, and our beloved, soft-spoken, paintbrush-wielding protagonist, Bob Ross. Let's recon. You've seen him before. He's the soft-spoken guy painting happy clouds, mountains, and trees in about 26 television minutes, using big house painting type brushes. And while there's nothing militaristic about this set, Bob Ross himself is a veteran of the United States Air Force. In reaching the rank of sergeant, he said in a 1990 interview with the Orlando Sentinel, "I was the guy who makes you scrub the latrine, the guy who makes you make your bed, the guy who screams at you for being late to work." Doesn't sound like the Bob Ross we know. He allegedly earned the nickname Bust 'em Up Bobby, but hated having to be self-described as a mean and tough person. He was stationed at Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska. This is the runway at Eielson looking south at the Alaskan mountain range. Besides the F-16 in the foreground, the background features pine trees and a glorious mountain range in the back, 2 prominent geographic features that Ross often painted. So the packaging features various poses of the Bob Ross figure, and underneath these are some of his quotes. The one thing that I thought was very cool about this packaging is that on the bottom, NECA credits the team that was responsible for this, so thank you to this team that brought this figure to life. At the overview, we've got everything laid out. We have 2 brushes, paint palette, palette knife, and easel, as well as the man himself, Bob Ross. So we're going to take a closer look, starting with the figure. Ross's attire was very simple, and I think it made sense. A neutral button-down and blue jeans. So nothing flashy. The emphasis was not on him, it was on the painting. Simple black belt accompanied with black shoes. Personally, I believe they did a good job of capturing his friendly smile. There's no shortage of articulation points, so we can see the head swivels back and forth, side to side. We get some hip action going. We have a joint at the shoulder, the elbow can be bent, and the arm itself can be twisted, as well as the hand. That wrist can be rotated also. Now we move down here to the legs. You can swing the leg out to the side or up and down. We get a bend at the knee. And then we also have, and then I'm not sure, but I think there's a type of a ball joint going on here around the ankle. Next, we move on to the paint palette. I count 12 colors here, and with a dozen colors, this man brought beauty and wonder to our televisions. Nowadays, it's phones and computer screens. Next, we move on to the paint bucket and its holder. We can see that it is marked with a few splatters of paint. The inside of the paint bucket has a glossy finish. Of course, inside there was odorless paint thinner, so that does look like it's a liquid. So as I got done filming all the B-roll, I got to looking at the easel and I'm thinking, you know, something just doesn't look right. And that's when I realized I had made a happy accident. So for my B-roll shots, you know, this is how I have it set up. And I could tell that there's notches on these sides, these 4 little notches, and I thought, well, maybe they're supposed to snap onto the legs here somehow. So then I realized this plate is too narrow, it's not going to work, and the notches are too far apart from each other anyway. Then I got to looking at pictures on the box, and I went to NECA's website, and it was there that I discovered that the plate is actually supposed to be placed underneath like so, and it snaps into place on the legs, and there you have it. That is how it's supposed to be, and I was just about to go back and refilm everything, but then I thought, you know what, in the spirit of Bob Ross, we're going to make it a bird. You know, if I made that mistake, someone else might make it as well. So if you get this set, this is actually how this plate is supposed to be set up for the easel. Finally, we move on to the 2 paint brushes and the palette knife. We have a 2-inch brush, palette knife, and fan brush. Now something I want to point out with the thought process behind these. If you look at the 2-inch brush, you see the color blue on it, right? Well, he typically used the 2-inch brush to paint the skies and water, so naturally it's going to be blue on it. He would use the palette knife with white paint to make the mountains, and he would use the fan brush to make those wonderful green pines. So each of these tools feature the color of paints that they would have mostly been used for. So I think that's a great detail that the design team put in there. That does it for this recon mission. Before we go, I do have one question. Can anyone identify which season and episode this painting is from? If you don't have the answer now, it may be worth a scouting mission. You can head over to the Bob Ross YouTube page, where they've uploaded hundreds of original episodes. For Call of Plastic, I'm Bill Greenwater, and happy painting, my friends.